Just finished reading the book, The Purpose Driven Life, and I just wanted to share this video because I felt that today is really appropriate for me to share this mighty important video that has impacted my life and that has changed my life. And this book really deals with many important life purposes, but the main thing is what I wrote here. I think it's going to help us. And Bible says in Acts, David served God's purpose in his own generation. And that is why God said of David, of King David, a man after his own heart, because he did God's purpose in his generation. David lived for God. His purpose in life was for God. It was nothing more, nothing less. And as I finish this book, it has really taken me to a whole nother level. The Purpose Driven Life by it's pastor, but I want to say Dr. Rick Warren. And there's a few things here that have helped me, and a few questions that I think that could help you as well. One of them is, our 5 purposes in life is to love God with all our heart, to love my neighbor as myself, to go and make disciples, to baptize them, and to teach them to do all things. The first one, God wants us to be people that worship Him with all their heart. When tough times come, God doesn't want us to worry, but He wants us to worship. The second thing is God wants us to be servants. God wants us to serve His people. God wants us to serve in His ministry, to serve in a church, to serve in our communities. It's important that we develop a heart of servants. The third thing is to evangelize. Jesus came to earth and He died on the cross and He rose, and that's the gospel. And we need to tell a whole generation. David lived for his generation. Now we have a generation that we need to tell about Jesus, and we need to evangelize. We need to go out and we need to tell people that there's a Jesus that loves them. The fourth thing is fellowship. It's important to fellowship with the church. I encourage you today, find a church, go to a church, establish yourself in a church. Go Sundays, go Wednesdays, go Fridays. We have a church. I go to an awesome church here, Victory Outreach here in the Imperial Valley, and it's a powerful church. It's a church that really helps me out to grow, and it's where God has placed me, and it's where I want to serve God. And I believe it's a ministry that God has placed me in. And the fifth thing is God has called us to make disciples. He's called us to disciple, to teach them, to baptize them, to teach them how to live a better life, to teach them how to live a godly life, to teach them how to live a life that is full of purpose. That is full of purpose. And there are questions that you could ask yourself by making, statements, make purpose statements. You can ask yourself, what's going to be my character in life? What kind of character am I going to be? What will be at the center of my life? Who's going to be at the center of my life? What contribution am I going to be? What kind of contribution am I going to bring? What kind of communication? What's my mission? What community am I going to serve? To who am I called to? What kind of people am I called to? Real quick about my character, what kind of character am I going to have? You got to know, we got to know that God is more interested in who I am than in what I do. God is way more interested in who I am than in what I do. So those are big questions, and I encourage you to get this book called The Purpose Driven Life. I think it's going to help you, and it's really helped me. And I know that there's a lot of doctrines. He is a Baptist pastor. Our beliefs are real different. I'm a Pentecostal Christian. I'm a Christian that believes in the evidence of speaking in tongues. I believe that God still works through us by the laying of the hands, and so some doctrinal things kind of changed there. But I think for the most part, I think this book, this review, I guess it's a review. I guess now I'm not sure what kind of video. I know this is going on YouTube, right? But I'm not sure if this is going to be just kind of me talking or a book that's going to be a review. Regardless of whatever it is, I recommend for you to read this book. And it took me maybe about a month to read it, because I took my time. I read a chapter a day. Usually with books you could read more, but with this one I felt God just really wanted to just work in me. And one of the things that really God helped me in this book was to know and come at peace with the idea that whenever you're a Christian, you got to be okay with the fact that you're gonna pass away one day. You're gonna die, and you're gonna go into heaven, and you live your life not for. One thing that I've learned is that our life is not just for temporary, but our life is for eternal, and we got to be with the peace. And so fear and all that could really cripple people, but as Christians, as people, we should know that eternity is actually something beautiful, something that we should hope for. So I just want to continue to encourage everybody here today. Read this book if you can. I'm not trying to promote Purpose Driven Life book. I have I have nothing to gain out of it, just to help you. And I think if more people found their purpose in life, I think that we could do more serving for Christ and being the ambassadors here on earth. So regardless what your role is, regardless where you're at, regardless who you are, there's a purpose for you. And in that purpose, you're going to be happier. You're not going to be stressed out. You're not going to be anxious, because you're going to be living with worship and not with worry, because God is going to be at the center of it all. God bless you guys, and I pray we continue to go forward.